Hello my beautiful people, welcome to the week ahead, a weekly general overview with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It is an absolute pleasure to have you as always. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. Thank you so much. It truly means the world. With that said, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. If you would like to get my monthly newsletter, which is another reading, right? It's a monthly overview that you will not find anywhere else because I don't do this anywhere else. You will only get it if you are on that mailing list, and you can find the details for signing up there in the description box below. With that said, before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's have a look, see what the week ahead has in store for all of us, right? What is the weekly general overview? What's the destiny card for the week? And the destiny card is the Hierophant. So for all of you Taurus, Capricorn people that are watching, hanging out, stopping by, this is going to be a potent week for you. There's a very strong feeling of your energy permeating the week, and I wonder why that is. Check out the astrology. I will eventually get round to doing astrology videos, but the thing is, there's so many people doing it, just like there are tarot readers, of course. I want to make sure that my level of understanding and output is at a particular level or caliber, so that what I deliver is actually pertinent and helpful information. I don't want it just to be the same general crap that, not saying that, you know, other people put out general crap, but I don't want it just to be the same as what you can find elsewhere. I want it to be personal and pertinent information that assists you, right? So anyway, back to this week and the overview. The destiny card for the week ahead is the Hierophant. This is about establishing things. It's about making things solid. It's about making things concrete. This is not a week to dilly-dally. This is not a week, you can be spiritual, but you've got to be grounded. You've got to have your feet firmly on the ground. This is a week for you to pay attention to the details, to look at the things that are taking place in your wider community, how that's going to affect you, to pay attention to what's happening at your job, within your business, if you have one, if you own one, if you run one. Why do I say that? The Hierophant represents the establishment, right? It represents the bigger governing bodies or even governments of nations, right? So this is always people in positions of authority, people that are in positions of power. This is about the structures that we live our lives in and the systems that rely on those structures to be, right? So when you get the Hierophant card, it is a deeply spiritual card because it represents religion, but it represents the dogma of religion. It represents the process of initiation rather than the spiritual aspect. So this would be, you know, if you talk about initiation, it's a process to prepare you spiritually for something, right? However, the Hierophant would represent the steps or the ritual that you do in order to be initiated. So it represents the structure, it represents the dogma, it represents the systems. And this week, so you probably will notice the governments, there'll be a lot going on within that sort of stuff. It could very well be that there's going to be some kind of, I don't want to say breakdown because I don't want to be a fearmonger, but I do feel like we are going to start to see some cracks between people that actually appeared to used to get on, right? And you might find that this is happening in your job, in your workplace. People that used to, you know, generally think and feel the same and behave the same are now starting to have issues, and it's because everybody at the moment is trying to come from their own personal standpoint of what the truth is, which is ultimately the best way forward, right? However, with this kind of energy, you tend to get that thing where nobody wants to compromise. So you will probably find that that kind of permeates the week on a macrocosmic level, right? On, you know, and we're talking about things like governments, local authorities. We're talking about your boss. We're talking all of those kinds of people, right? You'll see that there will be things going on with them this week where they tend to not necessarily lose their shit, but they're not as calm and collected as they usually are. That creates a window of opportunity, not for you to be ruthless. It creates a window of opportunity for you to be supportive, for you to be assistive. And you know what? By being those things, you will get so much more out of it in the long run, right? I told you last week and the week before, and in pretty much all of the monthly readings, or rather the weekly readings, that we would all in some way, shape or form have to play the long game. And this is very much about that. When you want to change a structure or a system, it has to be done gradually. If things collapse, everybody suffers across the board. So that's my advice on that sort of front. Now let's have a look at the direction. How does this shape up? What is it likely to pertain to, or what is the context of this? What is gonna, what fleshes it out to give it more meaning? This week, we get the Five of Cups, right? So this is going to be a very intense week. Why? The Hierophant, number 5. 5 is about change. It's about conflict. It's about strife. It's about the need for freedom, right? So you very well likely see this week, because this is a 5 of Cups, this week you will very likely see people rebelling against things. And this rebellion that you see coming through is probably going to come from a source that you didn't expect it. So these people that are usually cool, calm and collected may very well be the ones that are rocking the boat this week. They say still waters run deep, or watch out for the quiet ones. It will probably be those ones this week that are kicking off and rallying against things, because they're like, no, hang on a sec, I usually keep my mouth shut, but you fucking crossed the line here. You will probably see this on the wider world stage. So 5 of Cups, to give it more context, the 5 of Cups is about mourning, it's about loss, it's about the realization of what you have lost, right? So the other thing about the Hierophant, it can represent traditional values. Got the 5 of Cups as the direction, how this shapes up, what it's likely to relate to. This could very well be a week where people are looking back over things and saying, you know what, we've gone too far forward in one respect, and we need to bring back more of the traditional values. You'll be hearing that a lot this week. I don't know why, but I really get that feeling, and it's almost like some people are grabbing at the past. Like, what about the good old days? Well, yeah, they were great, but unfortunately progress happened, and this is where we are. We need to work with what we have and forge something else going forward. You're not going to be able to turn things backward in all ways, shapes and forms, right? Or should I say across the board. On a macrocosmic level, we may very well see some moves made by politicians, by government, by people in positions of authority or power that actually look really backward facing, that actually make us go, hang on a sec, we're taking a step backward here. There's something not quite working with this. There's something not quite and actually, yeah, the word that's coming through now, there's something quite prohibitive about this move, about this step, and what it means for us on the ground. So in, that's the wider world stage, or, the national or international stage. What about the microcosmic stage? In relation to your past, or a change that happens this week in some way, shape or form, it does feel like we're all looking back and harking back to the past. My biggest piece of advice to all of you, do not, and I mean do not, and you guys know me, I very rarely tell people what they should and shouldn't do, because I don't believe in that crap. But this week, do not put on those rose-tinted glasses and sell yourself a fucking bullshit hook, line and sinker of, oh, it used to be so much better. Do not do that to yourself this week, right? The 5 of Cups, aside from everything else that I've mentioned, can be about overindulgence, drinking too much, drugs, escapist behaviour, and not like the, let's go out with friends and have a few drinks sort of way. This is like the, I just want to get trashed and I want to ignore it. I want everything to go away for a while, right? Unfortunately, when you wake up and you come out of that drug, drink, whatever induced coma, the chances are that all of your problems are going to come straight back at you with a vengeance, and they'll be even worse because you're hungover. This is not a week to practice escapism. It's not a week for you to ignore what truly is. You need to deal with the facts this week. You need to deal with things exactly as they are. If you have a rush of memory this week, if you have a rush of things come back to you and you say, actually things were better when ... Were they actually better? Can you pinpoint the exact reason that they were better? Can you really, on your, you know, in your depth of self, in your heart of hearts, without chemically inducing that feeling, can you really say that the circumstances you had before were better? And now that you have the knowledge of that, how does that really affect you? How does it really shape up? The Five of Cups is not a great card. You know me by now, guys. I do not bullshit you. I just tell you what I feel you need to hear. So the fact that you've got two fives, right? You've got the five of Earth, effectively, because it's Taurus or Capricorn ruled. Then on top of that, you've got the Five of Cups, which is the Five of Water, right? So this could escalate quite quickly. The chances are that it could escalate quite quickly. Why? Because you've got water and earth. That's a fruitful pairing, but it's a fruitful pairing through chaos. This week, a small thing could very likely become something way bigger than you expected. This could be the sort of thing where, I don't know, maybe a boss drops a comment and you drop one back, and before you know it, you're storming out saying, "I fucking quit, I've had enough." Not for everybody, but it's a possibility. Another possibility is that you say to yourself, right, well, you know, I'm not feeling great, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to have a few drinks. A few drinks turns into 600 quid on your credit card, a hangover from hell, Tiger in the Bathroom. Yes, that's a film. Hilarious, by the way, if you haven't seen The Hangover. Do something funny this week, actually. That's a really good segue. Do something funny, do something creative, do something that is going to snap you out of a funk before it starts, right? You've been forewarned, you've been given this foreknowledge now before this week sort of kicks in, so you know roughly what to expect. It's going to be a heavy week. It's going to be one where small things, seemingly small things, a throwaway comment, you know, something really small to you or to somebody else towards you could seem really small to them or to us, but it could get blown out of all proportion very, very quickly. You know, going out and drinking with friends, you could be in a bar, somebody drops a comment, before you know it, there's a brawl, right? I'm sorry to say, you know, to be heavy and, I hate this word, but negative, but I'm trying to give you as much information before you feel this stuff coming up, so that when it arises, you can say, shit, okay, Raph talked about this. Take a breath, take a minute, separate from the experience, get some emotional space, some mental freedom. That's the other side of this, right? You've got two fives. Aside from the heavy stuff, 5 is about liberation and freedom and true expression of self. It's about the 5 sense reality. It's about being truly present in your physical form, in who you really are. So if you can utilize that energy of it, when somebody makes that throwaway comment or you find yourself absolutely enraged, if you can take that moment to detach from it and say, right, be in your physical body, be in your moment, be in your zen, detach from this experience and be more logical. How do I liberate or free myself from the experience that is trying to trap me? And I promise you, people, this week the chances are, if you get into that funk, it will trap you. It will have you for the whole week and possibly even longer. Why? Because the Hierophant can go beyond that and sometimes turn into things that are like legal, right? Not always, but sometimes. The other thing that I want to mention here as well is in terms of relationships. This is not going to be an easy week. Why do I say that? Because the Hierophant represents marriage. So for those of you that are married, for those of you that are to be married, like engaged, for those of you that have been with a partner for a long time, those of you are going to be the ones that feel this strain the most in relationships. So now that you know, again, presence, focus, determination towards liberation and freedom, being present enough to say to your other half, actually, that might have seemed like a throwaway comment to you, but that fucking hurt me. Can you think about what you've just said and how that might happen, rather than you know, launching another attack at something that felt like an attack. This is a week to be really conscious, people. I mean, it's a massive long video of me waffling on, so I apologise, but I really feel that this is relevant. The insight for the week, oh, okay, so look at that. So accidentally pulled 2 cards up. The first card that we're looking at is the Lovers. So especially when it comes to relationships, right? Especially those of you that are married, to be married, or have been in a partnership for a long time, be conscious, be alert, be aware, right? This comes through the guise of, because the Lovers card represents Gemini, we're in Gemini season. And this is basically saying to you, be conscious, deal with the facts, deal with the deal with both sides of it. Don't just launch off on a tirade because you only have one side of the story. Gather as much information as you can before you make your choice, decision, the Lover's choice, decision, right? Then underlying that was the Fool card. New things, new places, new people. There is something about this week that is driving us towards a different understanding of ourselves, a different understanding of the world, and it's also going to give you the hindsight that you need to say, right, okay, now I've taken my rose tinted glasses off. I actually can barely even see myself because I'm blind without them at a distance. Close up, I can see fine. Right, when you take the rose tinted glasses off and you look at the past objectively and say, okay, you know what, that felt like a better time because X, Y, and Z. But it actually wasn't because A, B, and C. So when I take all of that information and then I look at where I am now, okay, I may not be exactly where I want to be. I may not be experiencing exactly what I want to experience. However, all of that has served a purpose. Where I am now is where I'm supposed to be, because if I wasn't here now, then I probably wouldn't be alive, right? So there is a reason for all of that. Deal with the facts, take on the knowledge, and then decide where it is that you want to go. The Fool card asks you to take a calculated risk. And with these cards, the calculated risk is to walk a path that is authentically who you are, and to have the patience and the guts to look at your relationships, to look at your interactions with bosses, with companies, with people that are peers, to look at the structures in your life and the systems and ask yourself, what no longer works? What is not serving me? What is it that is actually keeping me down and bound, as opposed to giving me that freedom and that liberation that I'm truly seeking or want to find or express and experience within my life. This is going to be a very intense week. If it's not too personal for you, please let me know in the comments section. I will do the same. I will keep every single one of you, all nearly 40,000 of you. I'm so proud. I'm nearly at 38k. And I can't wait to hit 40. I'm so grateful for all of you. So I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. I will pray so heavily and hard for all of you this week. Like I said, it can be a week of liberation and freedom, but it's not going to be easy to get to that place. It's going to require you to be really present, really focused in who you are and what you decide to experience. And that's the other thing about the number 5 that people don't tell you, that you won't see written anywhere. It has the power to choose. It tends to choose freedom and liberation and sex, drugs and rock and roll for sure. But it has the power to choose, as do every one of you that watch this. I wish you so much love, so much abundance. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you very soon.